Hi, it's Dwyer. It's December 5th, 2024. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, you have a big fight coming up between a guy who was the cruiserweight champion. He was the bridgerweight champion. Now he wants to be the heavyweight champion, right? And folks, he's 6'5", and although this is his first fight at heavyweight, I can tell you without hesitation that he has one of the best jabs in the division. His name is Lawrence Okolie. The Sauce, he calls himself, right? The Sauce is not afraid to criticize YouTube pundits like myself when we get his fights wrong. Fair enough. But he's fighting a guy named Hussein Muhamed. Now, Hussein Muhamed, bigger man than Okolie, right? Believes in his right hand. But Hussein Muhamed has a hole in his game, and it's front and center in the fight he lost to a guy the public might not know, but who I believe is one of the better heavyweights out there, a guy named Jan Kazabowski. Right now, Kazabowski is the guy who was fighting Efe Ajagba. Got a little frustrated, felt he had been hit low. So he took matters into his own hands and started hitting Efe Ajagba low. Well, he got suspended, has not fought since. That fight took place in August of 2023. If you hear his name for a future heavyweight fight, you need to pay attention. I believe Kazabowski, based on styles, would give Alexander Usyk all he could handle. Let me say this. He's fighting Hussein Muhamed. What's Muhamed's weakness? Shots to the body. Right? He is kind of like Makhmudov. Can't handle body shots. They take away his legs. In my favorites folder right now, I have his fight against Kazabowski, where Kazabowski gets a stoppage on Hussein Muhamed off body shots. Right, folks? What you want to do is save that tape. That's the way to throw body shots. The reason it's important, of course, is Usyk doesn't take body shots as well as he defends against other punches. Right? You need a skilled guy, and Kazabowski, of course, is a southpaw like Usyk. Let's hope some matchmaker someplace makes a mistake. Right? Just understand, some guys who don't have big names in the heavyweight division have big time talent. Now, I think Lawrence Okolie is one of Frank Warren's very best fighters. He's already sparred with many people out there. Right? This is a guy who, quite frankly, has better technical skills than, let's say, a Daniel Dubois. Right now, understand, with Dubois, it's about speed, power, accuracy, both hands. Right? We understand Dubois is not in there to win style points. This isn't figure skating. He's not in there to win style points on being a master technician. But just understand, technique matters. I was astonished. I thought Lucas Rosansky, important name, right? The guy who Okolie fought at bridgerweight to get the title. I thought Rosansky was going to give Okolie all he could handle. The fight was in Poland. It was in Rosansky's backyard. And folks, that's a tape you need to save on how to use a jab. Okolie just shows up. Keep in mind, this is a shorter guy. He was fighting a guy with a big punch. Right? We'll say an older Mike Tyson type. And he comes in, makes length an issue, keeps Rosansky outside, hides his right hand behind the excellent jab that I talked about. So, where does that place us? Okolie against Hussein Muhamed. I'm expecting Okolie to win the fight. He can win the fight from the outside if he wants, behind the jab. Right? What I want to see, though, is whether, given that he's coming up from cruiser, he's given interviews where he talks about how he wanted to keep his weight on the light side so he would have maximum flexibility, maximum coordination, right? I want to see if Okolie is able to come inside and throw some jabs while staying at odd angles like Kasabuski did in stopping Hussein Muhamed, right? You know, a guy has a problem with body shots. Makhmudov, for example, right? Ajit Kabayel was able to stop Makhmudov off body shots. This is our time to find out if Lawrence Okolie is able to stop a rather lumbering guy off body shots, right? If Okolie comes out and just controls the guy with a jab, okay, we understand that's Okolie's plan A. We all understand that, right? I'm hoping Okolie, who is promising a knockout, after looking at the Kasabutsky film, tries to figure out how to go to the guy's body. We had in recent months a heavyweight fight where Jared Anderson, highly regarded in the United States, went to the body on Martin Okolie, and it was a trap, right? Okolie let Jared Anderson go to the body. Once Anderson got a little bit too comfortable inside, Okolie starts throwing uppercuts back. Right, folks? There's a skill set involved in going to the body, right? By definition, you're leaving openings and not getting hit with uppercuts in return, not getting roughed up by a guy who's setting traps, hoping you go to his body. I'm hoping Okolie can show us on his way to victory that against a guy who isn't the best at blocking body shots, who has a fight where he gets knocked down multiple times off body shots, right? Looks like his legs are on, let's say, shaky grounds, off the body shots. I'm hoping to see Okolie take advantage of that weakness. If he can, then that's going to elevate his status within the heavyweight division, right? Understand, we're leaving an era of big clunky heavyweights. There was a time when the guys who ruled the roost were Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. We all wanted a, unification match. Now you have these technical guys who have taken over the division, right? Alexander Usyk, folks, is highly technical, right? He's coexisting in a heavyweight division with wildcard types like Fabio Wardley, right? Well, just understand, there was an era. This is the Ali legacy. There was an era in boxing when it seemed every heavyweight knew how to dance. This was my childhood, right? The 70s. Every heavyweight seemed to know how to dance. Every heavyweight seemed to know how to throw a jab, right? That was just the price for admission, right? You had some great jabs out there, right? Now, understand, Okolie's jab is not an Ali jab. I call an Ali jab a mobile jab. That's rare. Larry Holmes had a mobile jab, right? His jab is more of a Liston, Foreman jab. Great jab. Great jab. But he wasn't on his toes. He's not a guy who gets on his toes and hovers around you. So this is going to be an interesting fight because since he's gaining weight to be in the heavyweight division, and since at heavyweight he might actually have a coordination advantage on many of the guys who are his size, 6'5". I want to see if Okolie opens up a little bit more, leverages that coordination gap by actually moving around the pocket, right? And of course, I'm hoping if he finds himself in against slower heavyweights, right? I'm hoping he takes advantage of the openings, the defensive lapses that his opponents have. Hussein Muhamed has a problem with body shots. I'm expecting Okolie to win this fight. The question is whether he also takes advantage of Muhamed's defensive lapses in terms of his body. Understand, if Okolie were to fight Martin Okolie, right, the Sauce would have the opportunity to hit Okolie in the body if the same Okolie who fought Jared Anderson shows up. Maybe that was a strategy just for Jared Anderson, right? I didn't see Tony Yoka and the other people, Carlos Takam, have a lot of success going to Okolie's body, right? But if Okolie makes a deal where he says, hey, I'm going to let you hit me in the body, I'm going to worry about defending myself up top, I'm going to worry about keeping my hands free so I can hit you, right? Well, just understand, if Okolie, the Sauce, is able to riddle a guy's body, and here he's not exactly fighting Martin Okolie in fighting Hussein Muhamed, right? If he's able against this opponent to riddle his body, that opens the door to him being able to beat a Martin Okolie by riddling his body and then dictating distance with, again, one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division. So this is a must-watch. You're going to have a reordering of the heavyweight division. Let me also say, too, I keep hearing people say, oh, Okolie holds too much. Right, folks? I'm telling you, as a child of the 1970s, Ali held as much as Okolie. Right? I mean, there are many Ali fights. Ali Ron Lyle, for example, the guy who knocked down George Foreman, right? Foreman gets off the canvas. Foreman hits the canvas twice in that fight, by the way. Foreman gets off the canvas. Foreman finishes Ron Lyle, right? But understand, Ali fought some rough dudes, right? Dudes who came in, who weren't playing games. They were throwing hard punches, right? They were there for the knockout, right? Joe Frazier, the second fight. Look at the holding. The Ron Lyle fight. The Ernie Shavers fight, right? Ali fought knockout punchers, and his way to beat them was by clinching a lot. Now, what I want people to do here in the comment section, and I'll agree, the Chris Billum fight, that was excessive, right? But tell us why folks hate Okolie's clinching as much as they do, right? The interesting thing with Okolie is he's one of boxing's best interviews. He seems like a nice guy. In other words, this is not the guy pretending to be a villain. He's not trying to be a bad guy, right? He's not, what's his name? Galindo, right? He's not, he's not the guy who shows up and is sneering, looking tough, or, trying to present himself as a roughneck, right? Lord knows we've had a lot of boxers like that, right? Sonny Liston, right? Comes in, he's staring at guys, he's staring at the referee, right? This isn't a guy trying to look like he has a lot of swag. You hear his interviews, and he's proud about where he came from and stuff like that. What is it about Okolie that garners so little empathy from fans, right? He fought Chris Billum Smith in the United Kingdom. I understand it was Chris Billum Smith's backyard. Let's just say you could sense before the knockdown that the crowd was a Chris Billum Smith crowd, not a Lawrence Okolie crowd, right? What's going on there? Give us your thoughts in the comment section of this YouTube video. I think Lawrence Okolie dominates this fight. I'm expecting Okolie to get a stoppage. I think Okolie is going to be better at heavyweight than he was cruiserweight, right? Also, look at the punch resistance. He didn't seem to have a lot of punch resistance in the Chris Billum-Smith fight at cruiser. Sometimes a guy gains weight, and suddenly he can take shots better. If Lawrence Okolie with this jab can take shots better at heavyweight, and if after a career spent mainly at cruiserweight, outmaneuvering guys, if he finds that the heavyweights he's facing here, and you have a lot of heavyweights, right, who are very heavy, who are 6'4" and up, if he finds that he's just much more mobile than these heavyweights, right, folks, buckle up. This is going to be a ride. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours. I think Okolie wins the fight. I'm going to sprinkle some on Okolie by stoppage. Let me hear your take in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.